Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we're going to look at geopolitical strategy and kind of where I stand on events and why I stand, most importantly, on certain events that we're seeing in the world right now. So, as I've talked about in previous issues, I've been very much opposed to NATO expansion, especially into the Baltic states, and in all probability, quite honestly, eventually into Ukraine as well. And that is the reason for that stance is one. I don't think it's strategically viable to defend the Baltic states. And then again, at the same time, what are you defending the Baltic states from? Is it a possible Russian invasion? It could be. But as NATO continues to push east, what does that do to the Russian Federation? Where does that push Russia? And I can tell you exactly where it pushes Russia. It pushes Russia closer to China. And whether you like it or not, the absolute fact is that within the next 10 to 20 years, probably more like 10 years, the Chinese military will be able to directly compete with the United States military, quite possibly on any point of the globe. And China is going to rapidly go from a Asian only power to a full-on global superpower. That is actively happening right now. And we are watching this in terms of the Chinese defense expenditures on its military and the continued increase in Chinese military capability. China has 1,400,000,000 people. Just let that set in for a second. 1,400,000,000 people. If we go up to the northeast towards Siberia, and let's just take into consideration the three provinces that border the Russian Far East. So in these Russian regions, there are roughly 6 million people. In these three provinces in China's northeast, there are 110 million Chinese. More people in the Russian Far East now are leaving, and we are now seeing a net migration into Siberia from a lot of Chinese migrants as well. We could get to a point where there are actually more Chinese living in the Russian Far East than actual Russians. Now, consider that at some point, way into the future, could the Chinese come to possess this resource-rich area, especially if you look and you talk about the possibility of the collapse of the Russian state. Is that possible? Who does that benefit? Does it benefit the West, or does it benefit China? And the ultimate answer is it's benefiting China either way, both from an absolute fact that China could end up dominating the Russian Far East, and also through military dominance as well, not just by net migration of Chinese. But I would say think about your children and your children's children here in the United States at some point and again, this is probably within the next 10 to 20 years, your children, even you yourself, are going to see a world where China becomes the dominant power on the planet. As we continue to see the United States fracture in tribalism, that is even going to quicken the Chinese rise to dominance. And I know it doesn't seem harmful. It doesn't seem like it could be a direct threat to you. I mean, if you're living in Los Angeles or Fayetteville or Austin, Texas, and you feel secure, and you are right now. But if we fast forward into the future, the world is going to change. And the reason the United States, the quality of life that you have in the United States right now is because of United States global dominance on the world stage. If that ends and we see the Chinese take global dominance, and as we push Russia towards China, that is only going to quicken that and benefit the Chinese even more. If you do not think the Chinese are a threat to the United States and other nation states, don't know what to tell you, because they absolutely are, and will become even a greater threat to the United States and other nation states as they continue to grow and become more and more powerful. And I am against taking a stance that drives Russia, the largest continental mass on the planet, towards China. A Eurasian alliance in which you have Russia and China together, but not really together. You would then see China dominating that relationship and dictating that relationship. Especially, you have to consider post-Putin. Putin is 70 years old. He's probably not going to be around in the next decade. And China plays the long game. China is looking 10, 20, 30, 40 years into the future. And what they're preparing for is indeed a world where they are the global superpower. And quite possibly, given the divide in the United States right now, and who's to say where that's going to go? I tell you, it doesn't look good right now. And I fear as we have elections, the midterms, the next presidential elections, the next midterms, and then the next presidential elections, if U.S. society continues to fragment the way it's fragmenting right now, we could be looking at something that nobody really understands nor wants, but we're heading in that direction. And that is, again, going to be fueled directly in some part by China, because it's in their benefit. What's happening right now with this war between Ukraine and Russia benefits China. It absolutely does. And if you understand the Heartland theory in terms of who controls from Europe to Eurasia, this big landmass could control the world. And could China, by proxy, end up controlling the Russian Federation at some point? See, it's highly probable. Highly, highly probable, especially as we see the Chinese continue to make inroads into the Russian Far East. Again, let's get back to that 1,400,000,000 population. And and right now, because of this conflict that's happening in Ukraine, and a lot of this directly has to do with this NATO expansion. I mean, the cost benefit for that NATO expansion is the cost, I think, is going to be higher than the benefit. I mean, the benefit of a NATO expansion east is under the guise of protecting eastern states from Russia. But the reality is you're pushing Russia closer to China. I mean, what's more beneficial to the West? Russia gravitating towards China, or possibly Russia gravitating towards the West? And the answer should be glaringly apparent for you. Is it would benefit the West if Russia were to gravitate more towards the West. But obviously that's not occurring right now. And Chinese strategy is absolutely working. And I would say right now, obviously, is China a direct military threat to the United States right now? No, it's not. Is it a threat to its regional states, such as Taiwan, Vietnam, India? Yeah, absolutely. Does China right now have the capability of launching an amphibious invasion of Taiwan? No, not right now. But I would say look towards the future. Look 10, 20 years into the future. Could China try something as soon as the next 5 to 6 years? Yeah, possibly. I do think what's happening militarily on the ground right now, as we see military technology change and shift, and new military doctrine comes to the forefront as warfare changes. I think we're seeing that right now, and more likely than not, the Chinese are going to have to quickly shift its doctrine as it watches what is happening right now, especially in Ukraine. But I just wanted to talk about that a little bit and kind of make you, the viewer, understand why I take certain positions. And for the United States, I do see the West pushing Russia towards China, and then fast forwarding 10, 20 years in the future. What does that look like? How does that benefit the West? And I can tell you it doesn't. It doesn't. It compromises the West. We just don't know it yet because it hasn't happened. And we're looking 1, 2, 3 years into the future. The Chinese are looking 10, 20, 30, 40 years into the future. And the way things are shaping up and forming does not bode well for us, the United States. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.